We're now joined by David Sciarra, who is Executive Director of the Education Law Center. Good to see you, David.
Good to see you, Steve.
You and I have been talking about public policy and education for more than a couple of years, and I want to jump right into this New Jersey Supreme Court case. Your organization has brought a challenge, if you will, on the expansion, regarding the expansion of charter schools, charter school enrollment in the city of Newark. A, why? B, I thought most charter schools were doing well.
Well, actually, you're asking me on a great day. The Supreme Court just issued their opinion in this case.
Wait, we're taping on the 22nd of June at 2:07. What are you telling us?
That about 3 or 4 hours ago, we all received the Supreme Court's decision in the case. And so I can, hot off the presses, tell you that what the court did was affirm the commissioner's responsibility in looking at charter school applications.
The Commissioner of Education.
Commissioner of Education. So in New Jersey, under our law, Commissioner of Education is the sole entity or state official that's charged with overseeing the program, approving applications to open new schools, to renew schools, to expand schools.
Around charter schools.
That's right, charter schools. So this case goes back to 2016 when the then Commissioner of Education, David Hespe, approved a sizable expansion of charter enrollments in Newark charter schools. We had ELC, on behalf of the students in the district, submitted information to the commissioner, essentially at that time showing that this expansion was going to continue to deplete resources in the district schools. We presented a lot of information about that. So it was going to have a negative fiscal impact on the district schools, and also that it would intensify patterns of student segregation, particularly among students with disabilities and English language learners. The bottom line today on the Supreme Court's ruling is they've affirmed those responsibilities. A. B, they said the commissioner did not evaluate student segregation as he's required to do, but they were going to allow the expansion to stand because of the passage of time. So they weren't going to wind the clock back. So that expansion essentially was allowed to go forward, even though the commissioner 5 years ago didn't do what he was supposed to do.
But going forward, what does it mean, David?
Going forward, this ruling is very important. It really reaffirms the commissioner's responsibility to very carefully look at charter school expansions and growth and the impact that it has on the serving students across the district, particularly students who are vulnerable and are higher at cost to educate. So kids with disabilities and English language learners. And also they wanted to make sure that it doesn't cause racial segregation as well.
David, take a step back. I have no direct involvement in charter schools, but my father, my late father, Steve Adubato Sr., founded the Robert Treat Academy Charter School in Newark. My sister Teresa has been very involved there for a long time. And so I know it. I have no official position, nothing to disclose in that way. But I've got to tell you, I know there's a lottery to get into the school. It is a largely Black and Hispanic community. I don't even know if there are any kids who happen to be white there. So where is the quote unquote racial segregation? I don't mean just Robert Treat. I mean, charter schools are in urban areas largely, if not exclusively. So where's the racial segregation?
So the point of this case was that the commissioner never dug into the issues, these issues. He never examined them. He never looked at the data. He didn't do anything. And there are sort of three issues here. One is charter schools in Newark serve substantially less students with disabilities. Most of those kids, the majority of those kids, remain in the district schools. And if they do serve kids with disabilities, they're more mild disabilities that are less costly to educate.
Move to the racial part, David. I'm trying to manage time. Move to the racial part. That's the part. I get the part that you're saying about children with disabilities. I actually do want to understand this Black and Hispanic segregation issue.
So a lot of the charter school networks have established schools, team and and North Star that were involved in this case have established a number of schools. It's not one charter school. There are many charter schools serving Newark. And the way they set them up was that they're serving largely, you have charter schools that serve largely Black students and charter schools that serve mostly Hispanic students. That was one of the issues. We also raised the issue that charter schools have the ability, Steve, to recruit students from outside the district. And so one of the things that we were asking the court to send this back to the commissioner to look at is what can be done to make sure that we don't wind up with a set of charter schools that are all Black or largely Black, all largely Latino in Newark, that gets addressed, but also that charter schools are using the powers that they have under the charter, or the commissioner is using the powers that he has under the charter school law to direct these schools to reach outside of Newark and hopefully begin to recruit a more diverse.
But David, in theory, that's legitimate. But in fact, that's not what's happening. Urban charter schools are not recruiting outside of those urban areas. That's just not true.
They are not, but they can, is my point. And they expressly are authorized to do that. So we were just simply saying this should all go back to the commissioner. Let me make it clear, Steve. Our position wasn't against charter schools.
No, it's the expansion. It's the expansion.
Sure, it was to make sure that they serve the District of Newark in a constructive way, that we don't wind up with sort of two sets of systems in the city, charter schools and district schools, less money, different kids, so forth and so on. Our point is it's not about the charter schools themselves, Steve. It's really about the commissioner's responsibilities to make sure that he or she is doing everything possible to make sure that doesn't happen.
David, before I let you go, real quick, shift from charter schools. I'm just obsessed by this question because it has so many important educational, racial, social, cultural, community implications. Quick question on school funding. You and I have talked about it for many, many years. There is an embarrassment of riches, even though no one's embarrassed in state government with the surplus. Is enough of that money going to the school districts, in your view, that need it most from the state?
The good news is that this budget,
the governor's budget,
and it looks like the legislature is going to adopt it, picks
we're literally
up,
a couple days before the last day of the month, which is the legally lined up deadline. That's the deadline. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So the answer is yes, because there is a significant increase in state aid in this budget that will move the districts closer to the promise that the governor and Senate President Sweeney made when the governor came in a couple of years ago, which is by 2025 to get all of the districts to full funding under the formula. So we lost a year last year. This year picks it up. Good news, makes up the ground. We're moving in the right direction.
Thank you. Hey, David, give me 30 seconds on New Jersey's universal pre-K, the universal pre-K model in New Jersey. Is it a national model?
A home run. We should be standing up and cheering for what we've been able to do in New Jersey. It is the strongest, most effective, and research-proven delivery program delivering high-quality preschool in urban and poor communities in the United States.
That's David Sciarra, a great guest. We've been at this for 20 years together, going back and forth on these issues. He's smarter than ever. I'm not supposed to offer commentary. I apologize. But he is Executive Director, Education Law Center. Thank you, David.
Invite me back, Steve. We'll talk more.
Anytime. You got it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, Wells Fargo, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, NJM Insurance Group, Choose New Jersey, Summit Health, Rowan University, and by the Adler Aphasia Center. Promotional support provided by New Jersey Monthly and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association.
Hi, I'm Governor Tom Kean. A dear friend of mine had aphasia, which is a language disorder that occurs from a brain injury or a stroke. It robs a person's ability to communicate, but it doesn't affect their intellect. Programs and services offered at the Adler Aphasia Center helped to improve my friend's communication skills, as well as her self-confidence and quality of life. Most importantly, she was among people who understood her. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with aphasia, there is hope.